What is an elite playmaker? Well, better question, what is playmaking? That's a question I want to answer in this video, and I'm excited to talk about it because playmaking is my favorite aspect of basketball to watch and study, and I think that's reflected in the content that I make on this channel. It's complex and intriguing from player to player, but sometimes it gets sold as a simple basketball concept when in reality, it's far from that to say the least, and I've been wanting to make a video about this for a while now, and I guess now is the time to do it. I feel like playmaking has somewhat gotten boxed into the idea of being just a passing skill, when in reality that's only half of the equation, because scoring is just as important when it comes to playmaking as well. The ability to create space on the dribble or create advantages as a scorer both on and off the ball are important, and in general, playmaking is about the ability to make plays for yourself and others, and the elite playmakers are the ones that can do both. They are high-level scorers and high-level passers. Now, this is a simple answer for what an elite playmaker is, but it goes beyond that as well. One thing that all elite playmakers have is the ability to manipulate a defense. Now, when I think of manipulating defenses, I always like to start with understanding scoring gravity. Every player has scoring gravity to a certain extent. How big that scoring gravity is depends on how capable they are as a scorer and their skill set as a scorer. The more capable of a scorer you are, the more scoring gravity you will have, and the skills you have as a scorer will determine where that gravity is most important in situations on offense. Scoring is an overall hub for many sub-skills within that main concept. You have slashing threats, guys who use their scoring gravity to draw attention when they attack the basket due to their athletic gifts and or craft around the basket. You have shooting threats, guys who know how to use their scoring gravity because they are major threats to pull from anywhere the moment they cross half court in both on-ball and off-ball situations. You have post scorers, guys who can generate attention whenever they get the basketball on the block. And then you have the gravity that's literally all of those things, guys who draw attention in just about every aspect of scoring. Having understanding of what draws attention to defenses is key when it comes to playmaking. But it's not only for scoring, it also allows players to control the flow and pace of how games are played, as well as manipulate defenses to spots that open up opportunities for other teammates. The natural connection from the ability to draw attention to the end result for great playmakers is the ability to take advantage of easier looks they create for teammates. Assists aren't the be-all end-all metric when it comes to measuring passing ability or playmaking. Assists only account for a score that comes off a pass. It doesn't account for how much of an impact the pass had on the scorer. Not all passes are examples of creation. That's not to say that assists can't be valuable, but I do believe that you have to actually watch the tape to get an idea of if a player is an elite passer or not, rather than just looking at the numbers. And that's true for just about anything you want to study in basketball. Now, there are two examples of how playmakers manipulate defenses to create easier looks. First is drawing attention as a scoring threat. This is most common because I do think for the most part playmakers tend to be slightly better scorers than they are passers, and I do believe that creating that attention and drawing that scoring gravity will lead to easier looks for teammates. Now, the other one I want to talk about is related to just passing in general. The ability to use pass fakes, behind the backs, hesitations, and no looks to throw defense off. Now, sometimes these things can be viewed as just being flashy and for show, but in reality, these are moves that can be effective in throwing a defense off. Making defenses believe you're going to go one way and then throwing the pass the other way is a form of manipulation, and one of the most effective ones if the playmaker knows how to use it effectively. Passing ability, especially from a playmaking perspective, is about the basics like vision and accuracy, but to me the more valuable aspect of passing playmaking is the ability to utilize those basic skills to manipulate and create easier looks for others to score, whether that leads to an assist or not. I judge passing ability off a player's ability to create easier looks. I think I've made that very clear rather than just looking at the box score numbers. Like I said earlier, assists per game aren't useless as a stat by any means, but it also is something that doesn't tell the full story. The ranking of assists per game leaders doesn't reflect the ranking of who the best passers are all the time. What the tape shows is a reflection of who the best passers are all the time though. Now, like I mentioned earlier, playmaking is the ability to make plays for yourself and others, and going further than that, it's the ability to manipulate and create easier looks for yourself and others. However, believe it or not, it goes even further than that, because in my opinion, the core of elite playmaking is unpredictability. Unpredictability is something that I've talked about in my videos about LaMelo Ball and Trae Young, and even a player like Luka Doncic, but it is something that I believe is the foundation for what makes elite playmakers so difficult to guard and so feared the moment they cross half court. Unpredictability is what keeps defenses on their heels, because elite playmakers are just as much of a threat to score as they are to pass, and the ability to use both those things to your advantage is deadly if you're elite at both of them, which elite playmakers are. Having the ability to make a score happen, whether that's through creating offense for yourself and others, is one thing, and that's the general idea of what makes an elite playmaker. But the ability to keep defenses from knowing how that score will happen can make a player unstoppable. The players that understand how to use their unpredictability, because they're so great at both aspects of the game that they can use both aspects evenly, is what makes them the most feared players in the league. There are a lot of layers to the idea of what playmaking is, and I think it's very clear that you guys understand that by now based off what I've been talking about in this video. There's the general idea of what playmaking is, making plays for yourself and others. There's the many ways players create for themselves. There's the many ways that players create for others as well. There's manipulating passing ability to make scoring easier for the creator. There's manipulating scoring ability to make scoring easier for your teammates. There's the ability to control and manipulate the pace of a game, which in my opinion is one of the key separators from what makes a good playmaker versus what makes an elite playmaker. There's the ability to control and manipulate opposing defenses, and there's the ability to use unpredictability to strike fear into a defense. And those final two things are the ones that are the biggest separators for me, because the players that can do those things at the highest level are the best playmakers in the world of basketball. Playmaking on the surface is about making plays, as the name suggests, but to me, playmaking is about manipulation, unpredictability, and fear. What I enjoy most about studying playmaking is just how different and complex it is from a player-to-player basis. There are obvious differences in playmaking styles, like how Nikola Jokic is clearly a different type of playmaker than, say, Stephen Curry. But there are also differences in players who are similar styles of playmaker on the surface. Like, to me, LeBron James and Luka Doncic are the same type of do-it-all playmakers that can do it from every spot on the court and are a threat from basically everywhere. But the way they go about it is different when you watch the tape. Even though it's the same concept, it's different types of execution, and definitely something that I think is most noticeable is the way they use different movement skills to their advantage. And that's what I enjoy about playmaking the most. I can make a video about 10 players who fit the same general idea as a playmaker, whether that be a slashing playmaking guard, or a shooting playmaking wing, or a forward or a big that playmakes in the post, or those guys like LeBron or Luka that kind of just do it all. And each of those videos will be interesting and different because no one player is exactly the same as another, and I feel like I can make those videos, 10 of them in fact, knowing that each of them will have something different to bring to the table. And that's what makes basketball so fun in my opinion when it comes to watching the games, studying the games, and making videos about it on YouTube. The idea that each player is unique and special in their own way, even if it doesn't look like it on the surface, because once you peel the layers back and you really dive into it, you'll start to notice things that make each player unique, and that's what the NBA is, a bunch of players that are unique, even if it doesn't seem like it on the surface. And playmaking to me is the biggest example of this, because the more you peel back the layers of playmaking as a concept, the more you peel back the layers of each individual player as a playmaker, and that's what makes it such a special concept to study, and it's also why it's my favorite concept in basketball to study. But that's the end of this video for me to this point. Thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, I'm notified whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time, so if that's something that interests you, I really think you would enjoy this channel, and liking and subscribing are the best ways you can help support me, help me grow, so I can make more content for you guys in the future. Don't usually ask for this, but if we can get 100 likes on this video, I'd really appreciate that, because I did put a lot of time into this one, and it's probably my favorite video I've ever made, because it's about a concept that is basically the foundation of this channel. So We'd really appreciate if we could do that. If you want to check out other videos on my channel, you can click the icon in the middle to do that. And you can also click the icon in the middle to subscribe if you haven't already. 2 videos from my video essay channel will be popping up over here. I have some videos planned over there that should be coming out hopefully sometime soon. I keep on putting them off, my bad. But if you want to see what I'm like outside of basketball, I'd really recommend checking out those 2 videos. On the other side will be a video that YouTube will be recommending from this channel. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.